Your daily dose of sports talk is here. Highlights, interviews, and analysis. From the entertainment capital of the world, SportsWrap with Jason Page starts now.
And we welcome you to it. This Thursday edition of the show. Sammy Arnell has the day off, but I got plenty of company over the next 60 minutes. Coming up in 10, Brian Kenny, MLB Network, the host of MLB Now. Catch that weekdays at noon Eastern over on MLB Network. Get some thoughts with him on the start of this Major League Baseball season, a little bit on the Yankees and Giants, and go around the rest of the game, get his thoughts on a host of issues. We'll also be joined by Dennis Bernstein, because if it's a Thursday, we're talking about the NHL, thefourthperiod.com, SiriusXM NHL radio host. Thoughts with him on the final 8 to 10 games of this NHL regular season, who's going to be in, who's going to be out, who are the biggest threats in the postseason. We'll go through each conference with him. Last night, if you did not see the end of this T-Wolves-Rockets game of the year in the NBA, I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately because for all the bad games, and there have been some stinkers. I mean, the Sixers scored 157 points against the Bulls last night. Talk about teams mailing it in to try and get the best draft pick possible. There have been some blowouts and some terrible games. But last night, both games on ESPN were really good. And the second one, which was the late one, so a lot of people on the East Coast may have missed it. We've got some highlights from just a total gong show. Scott Foster losing his mind, the ref in that game as well. We'll get to that coming up a little later on in the show. But we start things as we always do on this Thursday. It's time for the big story. And the big story is baseball is here. Oh, baseball is here. I can't tell you how giddy. I don't park myself in front of the TV very much for anything these days. I watch a little bit of everything here and there. Anybody who tells you they watch everything is lying to you in this industry. You cannot know everything about everything all the time. It's not possible. Because we have lives, we have marriages, we have kids, we have, whatever it is. It's not possible to watch everything. So anybody who pretends they know everything about everything is lying to you. They've got producers in their ear telling them things. There's no producer in my ear telling me anything because I am the producer. Baseball is one of those things, though, where I could just park myself in front of the TV. Today, opening day around Major League Baseball. By the time you watch this show, your favorite team will likely have already played their game. I'm watching. I am locked in for Major League Baseball today. I will be watching as many games as humanly possible, doing the split screen stuff with MLB.tv. It's fantastic. But watching the Yankees and the Giants in San Francisco last night, and I'll get to the Netflix side of it here in just a second. And I know there's a lot of people that are complaining these days about the fact that viewing is fractured. That, this network has this package. ESPN's got something. NBC has something. Fox has something. Netflix has a couple of games this year in the Home Run Derby. And, oh my God, I don't know where anything is. If you want to know where something is, you'll find it. If you want to watch something bad enough, you'll find it. This whole argument about, where are the games? I don't know how to find them. I don't know how to switch from my cable to something that's streaming. Stop. It's the year 2026. You know what you're doing. The people they want to watch these games, them being Major League Baseball, they're going to know how to find what they want to watch when they want to watch it. That's one. Two, the game itself. The Yankees the offense just rolled last night. Had a big 5-run inning against Logan Webb, who was still able to battle long enough to give the Giants and Tony Vitello some innings. But Max Fried was the same Max Fried that Yankee fans saw for much of last year. Dominant for the Bombers. And even on a night where Aaron Judge went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, had the golden sombrero. Even with all that, the Yankees still won easily. Look, I'm never going to go crazy about anything I see in Game 1 of 162, or as I said in the SportsWrap short yesterday, Game 1 of 4,860. If you're talking about every game in Major League Baseball this year. But the Yankees are going to be very competitive. I think the Giants will be fine. I think they'll be competitive. The problem is that National League is just stacked, and the team's fighting for wild cards because if you're the Giants, that's what you are. You're fighting for a wild card spot because you know the Dodgers are going to be the juggernauts and the best team in the NL West. So you're already relegated to fighting for one of 3 spots with the rest of the teams in that, in the National League. So you're already in a very difficult spot. It has to be disconcerting. It has to be disconcerting to be a Giants fan, a Padres fan, a Diamondbacks fan, a Rockies fan, because you know you're already relegated to wild card status. I know people will say, well, the Padres challenged last year. At times it was like a 2 or a 3 game lead. Nobody in their right mind thought the Padres were going to win that division. So it has to be disconcerting for those teams. But the Giants are in that position, and I thought they made a lot of great moves in this offseason. We'll see how it pans out. To the broadcast side of things, and I know this is a little inside baseball, but it's something that matters to me as somebody who's done play-by-play at the minor league and professional level, and major league level in terms of, I called UFL games back in the original UFL. I've done Division I college sports, all that. I thought the broadcast was good. It was entertaining. The drone shots are breathtaking. Just give me a whole game from a drone and I'll be fine. I've always wanted one. I still have never bought my own. I want a drone. I never know where I could fly them, though. I loved the presentation visually on Netflix. I had no problem with it at all. You got Hunter Pence with CeCe Sabathia, Matt Vescursion. I saw people complaining about, the guys get thrown together for one game. The first game, they're going to do a couple of games this year. That's difficult to do. So if you're complaining about the chemistry in the broadcast booth, then you don't know what broadcasting is about, because that takes time to build. And they don't have time to build it. They got one game. I thought they did fine. I don't know why Bert Kreischer was yelling at me to start the game. I didn't understand. That missed for me. I think he's funny and all that, and that's great. And I thought the taxi cab and the trolley car and all that stuff was great. Why I needed Bert Kreischer screaming at me to start the broadcast, I have no idea. That was a miss for me. I love the in-game interview. Loved seeing Jazz Chisholm getting interviewed by the broadcast team. The Bert Kreischer stuff it missed for me. We can get him off the screen. I think he's funny. I have no issue with that, but gee. I didn't need him screaming at me to get the Major League Baseball season started. Let me know what you thought of it. Hit me up on X at the back page. Always welcome to take your comments there. When we come back, Brian Kenny of MLB Network talks baseball. Welcome back to the show. You heard me talk about it in the big story, and let's expand upon it now. Some baseball talk with this guy, the one and only Brian Kenny. MLB Network. Catch him on MLB Now weekdays. He's getting ready for his show. And so kind enough to give us some time on this. Really, this is the official opening day for me. As much as I love the Yankees, and I got to say, I loved watching the broadcast on Netflix last night. I haven't seen too many reviews on it, Brian, but I thought Netflix did a hell of a job for its first time doing baseball.
Yeah, it's hard to do, just to throw together.
Yes.
And, have it come together. I like, Matt Vescursion is a pro. I didn't watch pre or post game because I don't. I'm being in the business. I just can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I realize that stuff's not for me. And I'm sure there's a lot of showbiz and there's wrestlers and movie stars.
Yeah.
I don't watch it. But Matt Vescursion's a total pro. I work with Matty here at the network. Hunter Pence is a great baseball mind. CC's a delight. There's a lot of easy listening baseball. That's what I look for. And the bells and whistles, it's not for me. I was talking about it with a couple of our guys here today, like the bells and whistles and the entertainment and the influencers. And it's not for me. I want to watch baseball.
I get it. As for the game, Yankees win. Judge doesn't obviously do all that much, but look, they're going to need Max Fried to be this Max Fried right now with all the injuries they have in this rotation while they try to get these guys back, and obviously Garrett Cole as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality on the Yankees. I mean, that's what you can see immediately. And even look, Jose Caballero is out there instead of Volpe right now, with Volpe being injured. the Yankees essentially, you're probably with me on this, they had to get Cody Bellinger back, right? It was oh, hello.
The phone went down. We got man down.
Whoa,
it's all right.
I'm okay.
It's okay as long as you're okay.
I'm all right.
All right,
there we go. Like the Yankees, I'm doing an essay today on MLB Now. We're on noon Eastern weekdays. And who won the winter? And the Yankees didn't win the winter, and they're getting a lot of criticism for like rolling it back, as they say, for Brian Cashman. But they had to get Cody Bellinger because he's the guy that does a mix of everything that they need. They need base running, they need fielding, they need a guy who can play multiple positions, also hit for some contact. So he has good at bats. He can take 2 bases at a time. They just don't have enough of that. So that was the key acquisition. And they're a powerful club. And if Giancarlo Stanton is playing and reasonably healthy and can hit with for power, they're going to be a very good club. I think the Red Sox had won the winter, but the Yankees did enough to be right there and be an elite club and, of course, get back into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there's a real possibility you get 3 teams out of that division in the playoffs. Could Caballero steal that job if he plays well enough to start the season?
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, look, Anthony Volpe looked like he was the shortstop of the future, but he had real problems defensively. He hadn't emerged offensively, so there are questions. Caballero's quality. I thought, again, to get back to the Yankees were very one-dimensional. They tried to get more baseball-y. That's my term. A little more baseball-y, and they did. Ryan McMahon at third, Caballero, who can steal bases, who can field. They didn't have any of that. They were, think Judge Stanton walking around like big robots. They're big and scary, but you need small, light cavalry around, for your weapons. And they have that now. So they're a little more baseball-y, and I think we saw it on display last night.
I have a feeling I know your answer to this, but I meant to ask you this. I wrote it in my notes. I said, how do you feel about the interviewing the I love talking to guys while they're on the field during the game. Like they had Jazz Chisholm, who's one of the most entertaining guys in all of baseball. It says he wants to go 50-50 this year. We'll see about that. I think he's got a shot to go 40-40. He hits for enough power. But I'm curious to get your thoughts. How do you feel about the man on the field interview that we see in all these primetime broadcasts these days?
Well, I think it's
the only sport you can do it in.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I love the idea of it. And again, I've been in the business 41 years now. Mm-hmm. And I've been at MLB Network 15 years, the prior 14 years at ESPN. And I was one of the people pushing for the alternative broadcast. And hey, there's other ways of doing it. Do a talk show while you're doing a ball game. Hey, have interaction with the players on the field. But where I've arrived is I need down and distance. I need balls and strikes. I actually prefer a traditional broadcast. There's a reason why you broadcast that way, the traditional play-by-play. You need the facts in front of you of what's happening. So I'm not a big fan of the alternative broadcast, even though I was all for it and I was one of the first to be an advocate for it years ago. It's just not a better way to watch the game. And as far as interviewing players, what's ever been said on the field that you remember? Like nothing. Nothing is said because the guy's got other things to do. I like the idea of it. It's funny. I'm watching the game last night with my wife, and my wife is watching, and she's a big baseball fan, but she's a little more casual fan than I am. And she said, "Are they doing this now?" And I explained to her, "Yeah, they did it on Sunday Night Baseball last year. They do it on All-Star Game with Fox and all that." And she had, I thought, a point that I hadn't thought of. She said it makes things look a little less serious. She said, "I look at baseball, like Major League Baseball,
but it's not serious. It's a game. It's entertainment."
Her feeling, Jason, was baseball is a serious game played by professionals, and now I see it kind of joking around on the field, and it didn't feel as serious. So I thought it was a good point. I'm with her in that. Now, if anybody ever said anything of any importance, it'd be different. But I know, like, we have Kevin Kiermaier on our show today, right? Just recently retired. He's on MLB Network now. He's hired as one of our new analysts. He's he's like about the best defensive player of his generation, right? Great center fielder, 4-time Gold Glover. I can imagine having an interview with him out in center field, but he's not going to be as good. He's not going to say anything, with any real analysis or insight because he's waiting for the ball to be hit. Whereas if you sit down before a game or after a game, he can give you real things. So, yeah, if anyone ever said anything, and I think it goes viral, did you hear what the guys, he was joking in the All-Star game and he said this to John Smoltz, I'm thinking, who cares? Like, I don't care. Like, what's important or incisive about anything anyone's ever said while standing out on a field? It's never happened.
Nah. I thought it was cool because what they did with Jazz last night was at one point a ball was hit the opposite way and he started moving before the ball even got hit. And they were like, what's going on there? And he was like, well, because of the way Max throws the ball, we know this particular scouting reports. I felt like I got a little bit out of it, but all
right, that's something. I'll give you that.
I can understand how some people may not be crazy about it, though. Brian Kenny's going to hang around for one more segment. I want to get into some other teams around the league with him. There's some teams we've looked at as potential surprises this year. I want to see if he thinks they'll be a surprise. That's next. Welcome back to the show. Hanging out with Brian Kenny. MLB Network, MLB Now, weekdays at noon. Some teams I want to go through that I think are fascinating this year, and a lot of them are in the National League. Pittsburgh. At some point, Connor Griffin will be up. It feels like there's more. Look, if you're a Pirates fan, our friends watching on Sportsnet Pittsburgh, you got to look for something to be optimistic about. And it feels like, you look at the win total in Vegas where they're projecting them. There's some thoughts this team in that division can be competitive this year. Is this the year where they can?
I'm not buying. I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Maybe I'm wrong. And what's interesting to me is how people feel about the Pirates from the people I work with. My researchers, Tom Verducci, who I'm doing the show with today, who's on our show, they're thinking the Pirates, make a run at the playoffs or make the playoffs. I'm not buying. Like, I know the pitching staff in theory can be very deep. The rotation can be excellent. If Jared Jones is back with schemes, right? Like, it makes a big difference. But Ryan O'Hearn, and Brandon Lau, good players, but not guys to carry a club. Like, just because they added somebody finally, I think it's not a good defensive team. I think it's a mediocre offensive team. So I'm set my feeling, no. Like, compare them to even the Reds, the Brewers, the Cubs. No, they're all three are better than Pittsburgh.
You mentioned Cincinnati. What, is it just another year of Terry and sort of that group sort of coalescing, having the success they did last year, at least a taste of the postseason? You feel stronger about them in that division as potentially a number two, if you believe the Cubs and or Brewers are number one?
Yeah, look, Cubs are good. Cubs are near elite or elite. The Brewers we've seen are so baseball-y. They're better on the field than on paper. Even if they fall a couple of wins, they were at 97. They lost Peralta the year before. They lost, Devin Williams. They lose guys left and right and still replace them. I go Cubs first and then Brewers. I think the Brewers have to come back a little bit, but they're all better. And the Reds have real talent. Hunter Green being as hurt as he is and be on the 60-day IL, that's devastating for them. But they have a lot of pitching. They have quality out on the field. And the Pirates just don't, in my view, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe when I see Pittsburgh out on the field today, it'll be all right, kind of coming together. But I'm not feeling it, whereas I can see the Reds making a run at a wild card. I don't think they're better than the top two, but I can see them making another run, especially if Hunter Green is back midseason.
We all know who the class of the NL West is, so I'll avoid that for the moment. A thought on the NL East, though, with the Braves, Mets, and Phillies, and this goulash of good teams. Hard for me to pick one out of that lot. If I force you to choose one, which one are you taking?
Phillies. Phillies are still a superpower. And I think if Zach Wheeler is pitching when he's back,
big if.
Yeah, but he had the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery where guys are able to come back, and they do expect him back, and he's pitching in spring training. So, right, they kept Schwarber, they kept Real Muto, they're keeping the party alive. I think they're a high-quality team with top-end pitching. I think the Mets are the most mercurial team in baseball. And if you told me the Mets will collapse, I'd say there's some wisdom to that. If you told me the Mets win 94 games in the division, I'd be like, that's possible. So the widest variant, and I truly don't know, because they made small changes here and there, and they made some big changes. I think they may have saved themselves getting Bo Bichette, even if it's just for 1 year, because he has an opt-out. But that's adding a lot of talent. I love Bo Bichette. They may have saved themselves with that. But they got Luis Robert in center and Soto in left. How is that defense going to look? And the metrics are good for Robert. But I've just seen him lock out too many times defensively, and that's a bad defensive outfield with those guys.
The one thing I wonder, am I overstating this when I believe that? So I believe Robert playing with Soto and Soto's experience, can he be that sort of mentor that gets Robert back to that level?
Who knows? I don't know. I mean, why do you? How has he not gotten to that level on his own? He's a professional.
Playing with the White Sox, though. I mean, it's the White Sox.
He has trouble playing. He has trouble being inspired, I guess. He's been below league average the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He had a 5-win season 3 years ago. It was a very good year. He looked like a superstar. I understand taking a flyer on a guy like that. The high-end guy, why not? But, it's funny. Look, that's the Mets being the Mets. You explain this to me. They essentially have to pay $42 million for Luis Robert this year because he had a $20 million option, or 21, and they have to pay 110% tax, I believe, on his salary because they're over every threshold known to man. So they're paying him $42 million a year to play. Luis Robert, they couldn't pay $30 million a year or $32 million a year to keep Pete Alonso, their all-time franchise home run leader. When you have no other first baseman, you're going to have a utility infielder play over at first base instead of Pete Alonso. That makes no sense. The Mets' advantage is money. All it would have taken to keep Alonso is money. And Edwin Diaz, by the way. Like Nimmo, I don't get either. But okay, at least you brought back Marcus Semien. You thought that changed your club. Maybe they're right. But Alonso's pure money.
Yeah.
And he plays every day. He had 327 total bases last year. I'm sorry. Why don't we love this guy? Like, why don't you love that guy? I don't get it.
Last one on the A's, who will eventually be here in Las Vegas in a couple of years. Last year, they were a glam team that people liked, and it didn't go very well. This year, it feels like there's a lot of that as well, the sort of glam team that people like. How good can the A's be another year in Sacramento for them?
Oh, no, they're a good offensive team. They're for real. I think they are a glam team. And last year they opened up very poorly, but you see the offensive firepower of these guys. They're a sexy team, too. Like, they're fun. They hit for power. They're going to hit for power in that park. They don't pitch well. They don't have the innings. They don't have the rotation right now. They're trying to piece it together. I think they are gearing up, and they've done extensions for different guys. And by the time they hit Vegas, they're going to be good. And Nick Kurtz slugging 600, essentially being the best hitting first baseman in baseball. That's ahead of schedule. They're going to be pretty good. Again, pretty good might be 500 because they don't pitch well, but they have a very interesting offense and an explosive young offense.
Brian Kenny does a great job over at MLB Network. MLB Now, he's been there forever. I always love talking to him. And look, I hope to get to talk to you during the season as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care, Jason.
Welcome back to the show. We go from baseball to hockey because if it's a Thursday on this show, we're usually chatting with our friend Dennis Bernstein. It's like the good old days, just you and me, Dennis.
Yep. Good old days or bad old days, but great to be with you.
TheFourthPeriod.com, SiriusXM, NHL Radio, giving us some time to talk about the top stories around the NHL. So I don't want to, you probably know as much as we all do, but I don't like to speculate. This Victor Hedman story out of Tampa Bay is interesting. I mean, you're talking about a lifer. So, 17 years with the Lightning. He's won a couple of Stanley Cups there, been to some other finals. I know he had some injury issues this year. Does anybody have any? It's a temporary leave of absence for those that don't know the story. What's the understanding here?
Well, the fact that it's temporary is a good sign, right? It means it's a limited time that he's going to be going, be away from the team. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. And they didn't say for personal reasons, so I'm not sure really what's going on. I think that's probably family related, but nobody really knows. And I guess you gotta have to respect Victor's privacy at this time. But I would assume he'd be back in a few days and then go forward from there.
All right, let's go through the East first in this segment, and then we'll work our way through the West, because I always feel like we short shrift the East, unless Sam is here and he wants to talk about the Sabres, who have lost a couple in a row, but obviously still atop the Atlantic. Thoughts with, 8 games, anywhere from 8 to 10 games left in the season of sort of where this Eastern Conference sits.
Yeah, well, look, they're the best team right now, the Sabres, right? But all these teams have flaws, Jason. And that's what makes this race in both conferences so great, is that, you could see the Avalanche bounce back, and now they're playing better. They're probably going to win the division. But in the East, it's wide open. It really is. And you watch a game last night, like you look at Boston. Boston had a terrible game at home, and they were the best home team against Toronto. They go into Buffalo, who's been the best team in the league for months. They go in and find a way to win in overtime. I think with respect to the Sabres right now, maybe like when they get under pressure, the details break defensively, and they gave up more chances than they should. And it's funny, if you get this team with all the talent that they have with Tage Thompson, Jason Zucker had a great day, Zach Benson had a great goal. When you drag them into a track meet and it's a 5-4 game, they don't do well in chaos. They're more structured than people think. So that's it. And then you have a team like Carolina, who I still look at their second line center, Logan Stankoven, who's 5'7" and maybe 195 pounds. He's not big enough to win in a big spot. So I think the intrigue with respect to the Stanley Cup final is you could probably say 5 or 6 teams could win the cup, but you could probably call for a lot of upsets in the East and in the West this season, because there's so much parity, Jason. Because guess what? There's a lot of good players in this league, more than ever before. And I think that's the overarching point about the NHL at this point.
Well, you mentioned, 5 or 6 teams that can win the cup. But when you're talking about the Eastern Conference, does it feel, who would you say, of all the teams that could make the playoffs right now, who would you count out as coming out of the East? Not who's going to win the Stanley Cup. Because it feels to me like just if you make the playoffs out of the East right now, you could wind up in the Stanley Cup. Am I wrong?
Well, I'll get up. I don't think Pittsburgh will get it.
Really?
Go through it. Yeah, I don't think so. I just think defensively they're giving up too much right now. Malkin's out again. I don't see that. Could you fathom the Columbus Blue Jackets getting in? Maybe. I think, look, the team I trust the most right now, despite the fact that they're trailing the Sabres, would be the Lightning, because they've been there before. Like, you look at the top 3 teams in the both divisions. Which one of the 5 of those 6 teams, Jason, has been in the Stanley Cup final last decade? I think maybe Pittsburgh. That's it.
Right.
So it's uncharted territory to go 3 rounds, right? The wildcard teams, Boston right now, Ottawa, could be the Islanders, could be Detroit. Philly's even making a push. I would say that if I had to handicap it, I'd say Tampa Bay first, Buffalo second. And, for not for nothing, we've talked about Montreal all year, how great a season they have. They're only 3 points ahead of the wildcard teams. Like, they could actually get bounced out of the playoffs if they don't play well down the stretch, which is crazy. It's just a crazy thought, because they've been solid all season. So I think about to rank them Tampa Bay 1, Buffalo 2. As much as I love Buffalo, been talking about it for months. I think when push comes to shove, a game 7, you trust if it was Vasilevsky against Luukkonen in net, who would you pick? You pick Vasilevsky.
If you're talking about, the wild card spots right now, it's the Bruins and Senators. Do you think it ends that way, or do you think the Islanders, potentially the Red Wings, that feels like, the only 2, the Flyers are 5 out. Yeah. Who do you like for those 2 wild card spots right now?
Well, I spent 4 years with Todd McClellan, so I've got a soft spot for Todd. I like to see him to be the coach to get the Red Wings back to the playoffs for the first time in a decade. But that loss against Ottawa at home the other night was really bugging me. They've lost 2 straight. They're 3-5-2 in the last 10. Ottawa, what can you say? Ottawa's won 4 straight. They've won 8 out of 10. They play Pittsburgh tonight at home, right? They beat Pittsburgh twice this year. So I think they hang on. I think the team that would be in more danger would be the Bruins. But I think it may stay the way it is right now. As much as I love what Matthew Schnafer's done on the island, and actually, if they make the playoffs, I might put him on my heart ballot. Not first, but he's been so valuable to that team. He'll win the Rookie of the Year. So I think it's probably going to stay in place because I like the way the Senators are playing because they're getting goaltending and they have depth. And the Bruins, they just seem to find a way to win games, and they're great at home. They're 26-10-1 at home. So I think we might see the top 8 right now probably stays till we get to game 82.
My Rangers are an embarrassment. They're just an embarrassment right now. I'm embarrassed to be a Rangers fan. Oh my goodness, it has been brutal for them. They had what? They had a good game this week where they had like no shots on goal. I mean, it was just awful, just absolutely embarrassing. You brought up the Islanders. It made me think of the Rangers. It always goes back to New York for me. Dennis Bernstein's hanging out with us. We're going to go through the Western Conference with him. Just 8 to 10 games left in the NHL regular season. We're talking about it on SportsWrap. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Continuing the hockey conversation, Dennis Bernstein, thefourthperiod.com, SiriusXM NHL Radio, hanging out with me on the show. It's so funny. We were in the last segment, and it was just a comment you made in passing about the Avalanche. And you're like, well, they should win the division, considering where this team was halfway through the season. I mean, they were on a record-breaking pace. Yeah. It's remarkable that we are talking about them in the context. I know they've kind of righted the ship here. They've won 3 in a row. It's kind of amazing to sort of look at where this team is and sort of the journey through this season for them.
Yeah, and when I say they've taken their gas off, the foot off the gas, they've lost 13 games in regulation out of 70. Let's be real here. This is a great team. But Jason, I think it wasn't adversity, but the soft patch they hit. I think that's the best thing for that team because the coach could get on guys and say, look, we need to bring it every night. Once we get to game 83, there's no nights off. Or you can't take a night off. And they've lost 10 overtime games, which is shocking, given the fact that you could put McKinnon, Necas, and Makar on the ice. You would figure they would never lose an overtime game. And, Jason, the power play is one of the worst in the league. So there are some cracks in their armor here. That's why, yes, they're the best team. Yes, they'll be the betting favorite going in. But there are ways to beat this team, and I think that Bednar and his team has to work on it. But they've righted the ship. The rightfully they should be. I mean, they're a plus 86 goal differential. That's crazy, right? Now, most of that was banked early in the season. But I think this second half taught some of these guys a lesson that it's not going to be a breeze. It's never a breeze in the playoffs, and it sets them up nicely for the postseason.
How surprising is San Jose's collapse here down the stretch?
Well, you look at their blue line, it's not surprising at all. Look, and Mackin Celebrini is a star, and the reason why he's going to get a lot of MVP votes, I think the next highest scoring player on that team is 50 points behind him. There's not enough depth. The blue line isn't that good. It's been a great run for this team. They've put, most importantly, Jason, they're relevant again, and they're putting butts back in the seats at San Jose at the Shark Tank. That's the most important thing. This is a team on the rise now. Mike Greer, the GM, had to do more work in the offseason, has to add to the blue line, probably get some more depth in the middle six. It's a nice season for them. It's turned around. They have a star for the ages, a very long time, Macklin Celebrini. So it's a nice season, but I'm not surprised that they went in reverse because there's just not enough quality on this team right now.
If you are Colorado, who is the team you least like to see in that opening round?
Utah. Jason, here's the thing about Utah. They might win the Pacific. Because they're going to cross over and play the Anaheim Ducks in the first round the way it stands right now.
Yeah.
And they'll probably beat them. And then they play the winner of Vegas and Edmonton. They're better than let's break it down. The Utah Mammoth have 20 their goal differential is plus 22, which is pretty good. The top 3 teams in the Pacific, the Ducks -6, Edmonton +4, Vegas 0. They're better than all those teams.
You were up there. What was the impression you got having traveled up there?
It's one of the loudest buildings in the league. But they're not great at home. I think the reason they win is that they have good balance. They're not a great home team, but they're pretty good away, right? They have a goaltender in Vomelko who's going to play a lot. And they have an aggressive owner. They have an aggressive GM who traded 3 second-round picks for Mackenzie Weegar. That's like an NBA trade Jason. That never happens in the NHL. This is a team on the rise. They have good scoring. Dylan Gunther on the wing is a killer with respect to finishing. I really like this team, and because the quality of the competition in the Pacific is, they have the best draw. They might have a better draw than Colorado. Because look at the second round. Look at Colorado's second round. They'll probably play Dallas. If Utah beats Anaheim, they're playing Edmonton or Vegas. Utah's better off than Colorado is right now, and they're a wild card team, and Colorado's going to win the Central and be the first seed in the West. That's how crazy this season is.
Give me a thought on the Golden Knights here. Just continue to sort of flail away down the stretch this season. Where's it gone wrong for this team?
I got to credit my buddy Ken Bolke at Sinbin.Vegas.
All right.
He's come up with a stat. The Vegas Golden Knights have trailed more than any team in the league this season. They've played from behind more than any team.
Wow.
Right? They save it for the third period. They're a clutch team in the third period. Aiden Hill is not the same guy, but there's a lot. Not like they traded for Rasmus Anderson and it hasn't worked out. That is a flawed team. Even bringing in Marner and pairing with Eichel, right? And they're not really they miss William Karlsson a lot, but that one stat is stunning. And it's a team that probably coasts through games and thinks they're good enough to play 20 minutes and win. That's not going to get it done in the playoffs, Jason. They really have to change their mindset down the stretch.
Why isn't the Marner move work out?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. Maybe
it just seemed like it was a good fit.
He's producing points, Jason. Yeah. So it's not like that. It hasn't produced the level of wins. I don't think I don't think that's the main cause for them playing the way they're playing. I think they miss Petro on the blue line. They miss Nick Hague, who has played okay, and the defense isn't the same. And it's an older team, and they get banged up. So I think it's a combination of things. I don't think you can put Mitch Marner and say it hasn't worked out. If they don't win in the playoffs, I don't think it'll be because of Mitch, although Mitch hasn't done great in the playoffs. I just think the combination of players this year, the roster isn't as strong or maybe overrated before we started the season.
Do you see big changes there in the offseason if they go out early?
Yeah, the coach might be in jeopardy. And if they, for some reason, would miss Jason, which I don't think they will, look, I don't think that owner is very patient at all. Bill wants to win. He absolutely wants to win. And going out early and not winning it, because they had that taste. They won a cup. The expectation is cup or bust. So if you go out in the first round against a flawed Edmonton team, who they'll probably play, or even if it's worse, if Edmonton finds a way to win the division and they lose to the Ducks in the first round, there should be changes made probably.
Last but not least, I got about 20 seconds here. Utah and Nashville. I know you talked about Utah still potentially winning that division, but is that where you're looking at right now for the last two teams in?
The Kings still have a shot. They play Vancouver tonight, the worst team in the league. They'll get to within 1 point of Nashville. They play Nashville twice down the stretch. Those two games probably determine who the 8th seed is, the final wildcard team in the league.
Dennis Bernstein, thefourthperiod.com, SiriusXM NHL Radio, and the wearer of beautiful jackets. I appreciate you, my friend. Be well.
Pleasure, Jay. Thanks for the time.
Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Before we go, a couple of reminders. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. The audio version of this TV show, 45 minutes, largely commercial-free, Monday through Friday, available wherever you get your podcasts. It is fantastic. All the guests, all the commentary, all the debate, it's all right there for you, Monday through Friday. Subscribe, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, they all carry it. Go and subscribe to the podcast. We also have the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. This is the place for all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show, no commercials, waiting there for you. It's great. It's everything you could possibly ask for. But it's not just that on the YouTube channel. We have our companion podcasts. We have the Sports Wrap with Jason Page NBA Weekly. We have the Sports Wrap Spotlight, the biggest guests that we have in the show that particular day. Sometimes the conversations run long. We talked about ABS with Brian Kenny during the broadcast, or during our conversation today. You didn't see that because it happened after we had to take a commercial break. So there's more to that conversation. You can get that in the Sports Wrap Spotlight. Again, All available when you subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. It's free. Go and do it. We also have Sports Wrap Shorts, 1 to 3 minute long videos. News breaks, we jump in on YouTube with a Sports Wrap short and cover that story, cover that game, whatever it may be. Sports Wrap Shorts available on our YouTube channel. Subscribe today. Sports Wrap Shorts also available on our TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on our Instagram. You guessed it, the same name, Sports Wrap Jason Page. And now, without any further delay, on this Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, and, you know, this game, I know it's two teams that neither is likely to wind up in the NBA Finals. They're both sort of in that second grouping out in the West. And in the case of the Rockets, they might even be in the third grouping out in the West. They've just been so bad this year at so many different moments. But last night, the Rockets and T-Wolves, total gong show. I mean, this was one of the best games I've seen. You had the T-Wolves blow a game late. They're shorthanded. No Anthony Edwards. They got guys getting hurt during the game. Rudy Gobert fouls out. You got Naz Reid getting thrown out of the game by Scott Foster, who was a joke last night. He couldn't have been worse. And all of a sudden, you turn around in overtime. The Rockets lead by 13. The Rockets led Minnesota by 13 points in overtime. And they still lost the game. I don't know how, but they still lost the game. One of the wildest games we've seen in the NBA this season. Dante DiVincenzo hitting threes. I mean, just wild. I mean, all the air was out of that place. They were down 13 in overtime. And you know what? Hats off to Chris Finch and this T-Wolves team. I don't know how far they go in the postseason. I certainly wouldn't want to play them when they're healthy. But that team plays hard, man, because they could have easily rolled over. When Gobert falls out, Naz Reid gets thrown out. No Anthony Edwards, and you still figure out a way to win that game. And again, conversely for the Rockets, how do you lose that game? How do you lose that game? It's just unbeknownst to me. Ime Udoka is a fantastic head coach, but there is something missing in Houston. We've tried to put our finger on it all season long. It's been a joke. And last night they had a chance. Kevin Durant goes to the free throw line down 2 after making every free throw all game, misses a big one. Rough night if you're a Rockets fan. That is for sure. Odds and ends. It was a fantastic game. Odds and ends, Tom Brady in the news. A comeback at 49? So apparently he was talking to CNBC today. And Tom Brady says he actually broached the subject about wanting to come back. That he was talking about the idea of coming back and playing in the NFL. He's 49 years old. Still looks like he's in terrific shape, by the way. You saw him in that flag football game. He could still sling it around. He says the NFL, though, wasn't crazy about the idea. Remember, he has a 5% stake, minority stake, in the Las Vegas Raiders. And he doesn't have really any daily role with the team, as he talked about in this conversation with CNBC. But he does have a 5% stake, so it would have brought up issues with the salary cap. You know, how if he's already being compensated and he's an owner of a team in the NFL, even as a minority owner, how would that work? He said the NFL wasn't crazy about it. Don't worry, though. If you're worried about Tom Brady coming back, don't worry. He's not. He says he's still very happily retired, still has a lot going on, but it just goes to show you the tug and pull of retirement and just how hard it is to give something up that is so ingrained in you, that is so a part of your being, that is so a part of your existence, where you sit there and say to yourself, well, if I'm not doing that, well, what am I? And that's something obviously Tom Brady has still had to deal with even this many years after playing his last game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us on this Thursday edition of the show. Sam will be back tomorrow. Robert Littell will be here from Black Sports Online. Tino Patino should be here as well to talk about NASCAR. You've got Sweet 16 games tonight. We'll all be watching. Texas, Purdue, Arkansas, Arizona, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston. We'll have recaps on all of that. But until tomorrow, I am Jason Page. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. We'll see you back here on Friday. Enjoy the baseball and the Sweet 16 action. We'll see you later.